It's 9 o'clock. We're ready to start the hearing examiner hearings. If everybody could take their seat, please. Thank you. All right. We're here on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2024. As I mentioned, it's 9 a.m. in council chambers for the hearing examiner hearings of this date. And I'm now calling the hearings to order. Before we start our hearings, I want to introduce the process that we follow. It's a little different than the process that's followed in other jurisdictions. In our process, the clerk will read the introduction of the case, and then the clerk will swear in anyone who is testifying. City staff will then testify regarding compliance with public notice. Assuming the public notice has been found, we will proceed with the hearing. If public notice has not been found, we'll take another route as appropriate. Following the finding of public notice, the applicant will go first and presents an entire case. In the city of Cape Coral, the applicant is required to address all of the different rules and requirements under the city ordinances and under other law. The city staff goes second and will present an entire case. Public comment is next. Once public comment is closed, it will not be reopened. The applicant will then respond to questions and make any final comments. Staff will do the same, and then the hearing is concluded. If you have a cell phone with you today, please silence it or turn it off if possible, and take any cell phone conversations outside the room if possible. If you wish to have a private conversation, please be aware of the fact that the microphones in this room are very sensitive, and it's very possible that your conversation would be recorded. If your conversation is recorded, it becomes part of the public record. If you have comments to make, please come to the microphone so we can properly record your testimony. All testimony must be under oath. Members of the public, if any, are requested to go to the microphone, which is on my left, your right. It has the same video and audio capability as the microphone in the center of the aisle. Anyone providing testimony other than the applicant and staff is requested to fill out a public participation card so we can properly spell your name. If you wish a copy of the hearing examiner recommendation or order, as the case may be, please provide your email contact information. However, please be aware of the fact that if you do provide your email contact information, at that point it becomes part of the public record and accessible to anyone in the public. With those preliminary comments, I'm turning it over to the clerk to announce our case. Thank you very much.
Case number VAC-000001, address 5322 Bayside Court, applicant Thomas Coltine. The vacation request includes a two-lot platted site that recently received a demolition permit in October 2023 after obtaining substantial damage from Hurricane Ian. The applicant did apply for a building permit in March 2024. The applicant is requesting to vacate 212.4 square feet of canal right-of-way and 408 square feet of platted easements in lots 9 and 10, Block 160, Unit 4, Part 2, Cape Coral subdivision. The row and platted easements are a narrow, unexcavated strip of land between the seawall and the western property line of the parcel with no value for transportation, access, water management, or utility functions. The vacation will extend the property line to the seawall. The address is 5322 Bayside Court, Cape Coral, 33904. Any persons giving testimony today, if you are able, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Good morning, Ms. Ford.
Is it on? Oh, now it is. Okay.
There we go.
Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner. For the record, Candace Ford, Associate Planner with the City Planning Division. I am here to confirm that newspaper ads were placed in the newspaper before the case, signs were posted on site, and then mailers were sent out to all residents within 500 feet of the parcel.
Thank you. I will find the proper notice was given. Thank you very much. Can we have the applicant up, please? Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner. I'm Tom Collentine, and along with my wife Daisy Collentine, we are the owners of 5322 Bayside Court. This is a two-lot platted site in the yacht club area of our city has a single-family future land use classification and single-family residential R1 zoning. In September 2022, our home was extensively damaged by Hurricane Ian, and following the guidance received from the City of Cape Coral and FEMA, we demolished our home in November 2023. We are requesting vacation of unexcavated canal right-of-way and platted easements on a narrow strip of land located at the rear of our property between the seawall and our western property line adjacent to the Bimini Canal in order to extend our property line to the edge of the seawall. We recently applied for a new single-family residence building permit, and this vacation will allow for a more suitable building area to replace the home we lost during Hurricane Ian. We submitted a comprehensive application with all the necessary supporting documents, including letters of no objection from utility companies LCEC, Comcast, and Lumen, formerly known as CenturyLink. We agree to keep a 6-foot public utility easement around the perimeter of the property. I examined the standards and criteria used to review our application for vacation outlined in Section 3.4.5 of the Land Development Code, and we believe our application meets the 5 standards and the criteria outlined in this ordinance. I also reviewed the staff report prepared by Candace Ford, Associate Planner, and wish to thank Candace for providing this comprehensive report and also for the valuable assistance she provided throughout our application process. We agree with all the recommendations and conditions of approval contained in the Planning Division staff report, and I would like to incorporate this staff report into my presentation today. Thank you.
That's very impressive. And also, I want to thank you for complimenting city staff. They don't often get a lot of compliments in places like this, so it's nice to hear that.
Thank you.
And I do want to express my condolence about your house. It's a terrible thing to happen. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I really am. I have no questions. Thank you. All right.
I don't know which is harder, going through getting your house, losing your house, or having to go through the rebuilding process.
I totally understand. I've had the same experience. Thank you. Ms. Ford, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner Winston. Candace Ford, Associate Planner with the City Planning Division. As previously stated, the applicant is going to be Mr. Thomas and Miss Daisy Collentine. The location is going to be 5322 Bayside Court. The applicants are currently proposing to vacate 212.4 square feet of canal right-of-way adjacent to lots 9 and 10. And then they are also proposing to vacate 408 square feet of platted easements occupying lots 9 and 10 in Block 160, Unit 4, Part 2 of the Cape Coral subdivision. Kind of hard to see, but on the map on the right side is an outline of the subject property, and then on the left you kind of see the general location of where the site is located in the southwest quadrant of the city. On the left you're going to have the future land use classification, and on the right is going to be the current zoning. Both are single family supporting. A little bit of background about the site. The site's currently 10,000 square feet with predominantly residential area of the city. It's currently about roughly 425 feet south of El Dorado Parkway East. It is surrounded by R1 zoning as previously shown on the screen. The site does abut the Bimini Canal, which has a platted width of roughly 200 feet. The site, as mentioned before, did receive a demolition permit in September of 2023 after receiving substantial damage from Hurricane Ian, unfortunately. And as of March 2024, there is a current building permit under review at this time. On the left side, you'll see Figure 1, which is going to be a snippet from Exhibit A as provided, and it's going to showcase the 212.4 square feet of canal right-of-way proposing to be vacated. And, on the left, Figure 1. On the right is going to be Figure 2. Can't really see it in that green, but it is going to show the 408 square feet of platted easements proposing to be vacated. And now I'm going to review the criteria in LDC section 3.4.5. The first criteria is whether the plat, easements, or right-of-ways are required by the city for any future transportation, access, water management, or public utility purposes. Staff finds that the right-of-way is a narrow, unexcavated strip of land between their current property line and their seawall. It does not provide a whole lot of transportation or any benefit in that portion. It was intended to be part of the Benimini Canal, but as such, it is not. Therefore, we don't need it for transportation, access, water management, or utility functions. The applicant will keep a 6-foot wide perimeter easement around the site, so we don't need any additional easements from that. Criteria 2 is whether any required easements are necessary to accommodate the vacation of the plat, easement, or right-of-way. Staff finds that there will be sufficient easements underlying the canal right-of-way that will be retained, by the city to provide that continuous required perimeter easement for drainage utility. Criteria 3 is if alternative routes are required or available that do not cause adverse impacts to surrounding areas. Staff finds that the right-of-way and platted easements requested to be vacated are not part of any functioning waterway system. It's in the upland area of the canal. It's not going to affect boater navigability or visibility for any of those that are going to be using Benimini Canal, and it's not going to cause any adverse impacts to either neighbor on either side either. Criteria 4 is if the closure of the right-of-way negatively affects areas utilized for vehicles to turn around and exit an area. Again, since this is the narrow strip of land between their property line and their seawall, we're not expecting any vehicles back there, but it also will not affect any boaters traveling along the canal system. And then criteria 5 is going to ask whether the local utility providers have given consent to the vacation of the plat, easements, and right-of-ways. And if the local utility providers may require additional easements or relocation of existing utility facilities to complete the vacation. At this time, all 3 utility providers did issue letters of no objection regarding the requested vacations. LCEC does require that there is a continuous easement to be provided around the perimeter site, but as our conditions, the applicant will also keep a 6-foot perimeter easement around, so that will take care of that. And then in conjunction with that, we're going to go over the consistency with the comprehensive plan. In Table 1, Policy 1.15 of the future land use element, staff finds that R1 zoning is consistent with the future land use classification. And then, and also in Policy 1.15, for single-family residences, we cannot have more than 4.4 units per dwelling acre for density. After the proposed vacation request, it will bring it up to 4.3 dwelling units per acre, so it's still below the 4.4 dwelling units per acre, so staff finds that this will be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Planning staff recommends approval with conditions of this vacation, and prior to this hearing, I did not have any inquiries or from any residents nearby. And then I'm just going to go over some of the conditions of approval. The first one is that the vacation of the 212.4 square feet of canal right-of-way and underlying easements, it's going to be consistent with the sketch and description prepared by Harris Jorgensen, titled Exhibit A. And then the vacation of the 408 square feet of platted easements shall be also consistent with the sketch and accompanying legal description prepared by Harris Jorgensen, and that's going to be titled Exhibit B. And then for the third condition of approval, we're stating that the city will retain easements sufficient for maintaining the 6-foot wide perimeter easement around the site as depicted in the sketch and accompanying description prepared by Harris Jorgensen, Exhibit C. The fourth condition of approval is going to ensure that this vacation request complies with the city's duty to hold certain platted lands in trust for the public interest. The owners will make a one-time non-refundable contribution totaling a minimum of $2,800 into the general tree fund. The city will then use the tree fund, use that money to plant either 2 black mangroves or 2 red mangroves or any other appropriate species for water quality concerns in the area. And this contribution to the tree fund must be completed prior to advertising the adoption of the resolution approving this vacation request. And then condition 5 will be that the petitioner shall pay to the city of Cape Coral the cost of recording this resolution with the office of the Lee County Clerk of Court. And condition 6 is that the city shall record this resolution with the office of the Lee County Clerk of Court following the receipt of the recording fees from the petitioner. And that's all I have at this time.
Thank you. I have no questions. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Are there members of the public who wish to provide testimony or input? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the applicant. Sir, could I have you back up with the microphone? Thank you. You've heard the testimony of staff. Do you wish to incorporate that testimony into your presentation today?
Yes, I do.
All right, do you have any other testimony?
I do not, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Ms. Ford, can we have you back up, please? Anything else?
Not at this time. Thank you, Madam Hearing Examiner.
Okay, fine, thank you. I will go ahead and recommend approval of the request as made. I will try to get it out today. I can't promise because sometimes when I go back to my office, unexpected things are waiting for me there. But I will try to get it out today. I'm sure you've been waiting for a while to get this moving forward, so. And I am sorry about your house. And I'm very pleased that you chose to stay in Cape Coral. Many people have a difficult decision in that regard, so thank you for staying. Much appreciated, all right? With those comments, I'm going to go ahead and close the hearing. Date and time of the next hearing is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, at 9 a.m. here in council chambers. We stand adjourned at 9:16. Thank you.